So Kathryn, today I'm going to have another attempt at creating a root over rock. I'm trying to use this representation of Angkor Wat from Siam Reap that I carved out of stone, which I took from a last day park, but don't tell anybody that part. I'm going to tease the tree, which is a Ficus retusa, which is also known as a tiger bark ficus. I'm going to tease it out of the pot, see what we got in the way of roots. There's some aerial roots here. Some may be alive. I think this one is dead, but let's see how we can get this going over that temple and into some kind of a bonsai pot. So if you take a close look, these are the aerial roots. I am going to try to somehow arrange the tree to somehow look like it's growing around and over this temple. Maybe reposition these aerial roots so they're coming down. But I'm going to do my best to make it look like it's very naturally climbing right over this temple. Let's see how this goes. Before I do anything with the ficus, I just want to show you what I have here. These are basically plastic training pots. I'm going to try to find the most appropriate sized one for the arrangement that we're going to do. We've got a couple of rectangle sizes, and then I've also got a couple of oval sizes. I don't want to put it in too big a pot because even though I want healthy root growth, I don't want to encourage the roots to spread out too far. So I'm going to go for the smallest pot that I can get away with. I've got a feeling that one's going to be way too small, but you will see. So I've recruited Mom to help with the positioning of the tree. I'm going to use moistened raffia to hold it in place. So you can see we've now firmly attached the tree to the rock. These aerial roots we're going to position. I don't know if this one is alive, but we're going to plant it anyway. My hope is that we can eventually have some of this root kind of coming across and down, and I'll be able to expose it once it gets a little more established. Obviously, after a season, we can cut the raffia. The tree should be fairly well attached to the stone at that point, and hopefully these aerial roots will also become quite a feature in the design. So the next thing is to choose and then get it into a pot. So the tree's in the pot. We've wired it in 3 different places. I fed the aerial roots down into the soil, which is very high. You can see that I'm halfway up the doorway on the temple that I made, and basically my concern right now is the survival of this tree. So I'm going to do everything that I can to encourage root growth. I'm using pine bark mulch, which I was encouraged to do so by the bonsai nursery that Mom and I visited today in central west New Jersey near Pennington. They said this is a great way of keeping moisture and encouraging a lot of dense root growth. So that's basically where we're at. I've got a little piece of wall here that is also part of the structure, just for aesthetics. And I've also positioned the temple more to the right because most of the roots are here, and I wanted to confine the roots because I don't want them to spread out too far, because the final pot will probably be smaller. It's certainly going to be a lot more shallow, but I just wanted to make sure that those roots weren't too free to roam too widely. So So I'm going to get a little bit more of the pine bark mulch, and I'm going to be using my chopstick just to make sure that it's well seeded, and we're on the way to creating something that's quite convincing, I hope. So here we are, Kathryn, the finished result. Aerial roots coming down here, all secured in by this wire, held on by raffia, rubber to stop the wire from digging into the tree. Little pieces of wall here. And I put some moss on it to keep in some of the moisture, particularly around those aerial roots is where I wanted that to happen. It also looks good. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So the plan would be, once this is established, to take off the wire, to take off the raffia, to plant it in a shallower pot, raise up the temple so the step going into the temple is exposed, and at some point this needs to be trained to get the desired shape, to make it look like a tree that has been growing over this temple for a century or so. Hope you like it.